Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Donna Fiesel, and I'm your host of The Edge on IC Radio, your source for news and entertainment. You can also find us on television, channel 182 in North Alabama. You can also find us on syndicated television. That's Abundant Television, found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. By the way, if you would like to send an email to any of our guests, or if you have some ideas for shows, send them on. My email address is donna@donnasedge.com. donna@donnasedge.com. And I'm looking down there. I see my name is actually covering the email address. So I'll see if I can do something about that when we go into a commercial break. I have AP Steadham with me right now, and he's a talk show host and anything all about sports. And everybody loves AP up here in North Alabama and all across the nation. Thanks for being on the show, AP.
Hey, Donna, how are you? Thank you so much for having me on the show. Really enjoy it every week.
Oh, yeah, I'm doing great. I hope you are. I know that both of us are. It's getting a little bit closer to football season.
Oh, my gosh, Donna, it's upon us right now. They started the practices in this hot weather, and they're trying to determine certain things about their team. So they're just testing everybody and trying to implement their offensive and defensive and special teams plans and getting ready for that first opponent.
Mm-hmm. One of our listeners, Rick, it wasn't a question for you. It was more like just a thought. And he said that he's pretty sure that since the players are not having to worry about an outbreak of COVID and things like that right now, that it's a lot easier on the players and the coaches.
Yes, because and the coaches too, right? Because you have to you take all these precautions and systematic ways to separate each other and it's just something that it's another burden. It was a burden on people, but it had to be done. You're trying to come up with a plan to help everybody, and that was what was implemented.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. So I'm glad we don't have to worry about that right now. So let's just dig in. What's going on in the world of football right now? Who are the winners and who are the losers as far as your perspective right now?
Yeah, Donna, we're looking at all these teams, and I think the big question is, and we always talk about this position all the time, the quarterback. We always mention it. You cannot get away from that position. So you have teams that are searching for their quarterback and trying to establish that position. It's interesting to watch the coaches. Will they play a couple quarterbacks the first game or two before the position is cemented in his mind about who should be the starter? Or is it going to come up with the starter and say, this is the person I selected right off from the first game, and we're going to play that person until otherwise notified?
How late is too late to find a quarterback? Is there or are you constantly looking in case somebody gets injured?
Yeah, right. Interesting question, Donna, from you, because the other day, Nick Saban in a press conference, he spoke about the position and he said, we need the competition at all times. So that suggested to me that because he has a three-way race at the moment, that he's going to be looking at all those candidates throughout the season. If he doesn't feel comfortable, I think he's planted that seed in people's mind that he may make a change after the third, fourth game midseason and not look back. I mean, he wants that flexibility to use, and I tell people all the time, they're on scholarship, so why not use them? I mean, why relegate them to the bench forever? If someone's not playing well, put in the next player, give them a chance. They're all on scholarship.
Mm-hmm. I think that's why he's been successful, because he really runs the whole program like a business. And in business, things happen. I mean, you can have somebody who quits. You can have somebody who is not on top of the game, so to speak. And so you're constantly having to make decisions and make changes, and you have to not be afraid to do that.
Yeah, that caught my eye the other day in the press conference, which I watched. He had his arms folded. And that's a signal, right, Donna? When he's folding his arms, he's trying to make a point. It seemed to me like when he folds his arms, I'm not positive. I have to study it a little bit more. But it seems like he's trying to convince the audience, and maybe he's trying to convince himself that this is a good move to me. I don't know. What do you think of when somebody crosses their arms and they don't do that normally? Do you have any recollection of what that means as far as their attitude or their message?
And Phil calls it womanese, because women we have our own messages, and we see things other people don't see. So when I see
Yes.
somebody crossing their arms like that, they're either being defensive, or they're like,
Yes.
I'm not sure yet. I'm trying to sell you or me. I think you're right on top with that.
Yeah, that's what it meant to me, Donna, because
Mhm.
usually Nick Saban, maybe he has making gestures with his hands towards the audience, but this time he had his arms folded during that press conference the other day. It was, it was, I think it was Sunday, I believe it was. I think it was. So yeah, that struck me as being he's not sure, but he's trying to sell the audience that we have three quarterbacks. We might use one, two, or three all during the season.
Uh-huh. It's also kind of a power move as well, and that's in the art of negotiating, and he knows that. I
Yeah,
don't think he has a lack of confidence. There's a lack
no,
of wonder because he's used to being number one from the
right,
get-go, and he's not number one right now.
right. The other part of his body did not seem that he was thrusted forward with power. It was really uh, a
Cautious.
question mark. Yeah, cautious question mark in his mind. Right, right.
Mm-hmm. Okay, because I live in the state of Alabama. You live in the state of Alabama. I would love to see Alabama number one. What does Saban need to do to really thrust it out there and to really get this game? What does he need to turn it around and have everybody saying, you know what? Alabama needs to be number one. What does he need to do?
Yeah, I think that second game down, Texas comes to town after about 100 years, and they're going to be ranked pretty high as well with an outstanding offense and a better team than they've had in quite some time. And if he has a big victory over them at the margin wise, maybe that'll get people's attention. But the main thing when they're playing Texas or any game is to win, because I think Texas is going to be a very difficult game considering their wide receivers and they have a very good tight end, and the quarterback play should be better than it was in last year's game that was held in Austin, Texas.
Mm-hmm. And there's something about a team gaining more confidence. And I'm going to tell you, Tennessee is gaining the confidence because they've had a couple of surprising years.
Yeah, Tennessee. I've had some people tell me that they're not sure if Tennessee can duplicate those 10 wins. And my projection is that there's 4 teams in the conference I think will win 10 games, including the bowl game or playoffs. It's Alabama, Georgia, of course, Tennessee, and LSU. I think those teams will have 10 wins minimum this year. But some people think that Tennessee might take a step backwards. I don't think so because I believe strongly in Josh Heupel as an offensive coach, where he's going to utilize the talents of his quarterback. And like I always say and repeat, this is Joe Milton's 3rd year at Tennessee. And I think he's grasped the offense. He's become a better passer with touch because we know he could throw the ball 80 yards. We don't have many 80-yard plays called. We need to complete the 20 to 40-yard passes, and we need to show some accuracy and touch and poise in the pocket. So I think he's poised and in a position to elevate his game as the leader of Tennessee this year.
Well, let's talk about them a little bit more in depth. So as you start getting successful, and you know this, both of us know this, when you start getting more successful, the enemy, you consider them the enemy, starts throwing more darts at you. I mean, you start getting more. So now, not only do they have to really be concentrating on the schedule, they also have to be aware of darts that can be thrown at them.
Right. But I think Tennessee is a team they've been searching for confidence for quite a few years, and they finally found some when they beat Alabama after 14 or 15 years. So they're a team that I would not hold back the reins on them displaying their confidence. I mean, you have teams like Alabama had success many, many years. You might pull back the reins on them if they're acting a little bit too cocky. I use the word cocky instead of confidence. There's a fine line, right? We want confidence. We definitely want confidence. We don't want cocky. Really, we don't want somebody to be braggadocious. And I've heard in the preseason that Alabama players, I mean, they're making some statements that they're really thinking that they have a very good team. Okay, and that's not usually what you hear from an Alabama player in the preseason. They kind of low key their position as far as their future success. But they're being pretty boastful, I think, compared to other Alabama teams in the past.
And that you just made a huge point. Because I remember my grandparents telling me, when you get out into the business world, don't brag about yourself. You need, because that shows lack of confidence. And so if you have to brag about yourself, it means that you don't have the confidence and you're trying to sell people that you're good. You got a great point there.
Yeah, I mean, I just haven't seen that too much from an Alabama program. Not too much, not very often. Oh, every once in a while, there's a player here and there that might say something that's out of the ordinary. But this year, I'm hearing a couple of players. But that's fine. I mean, that's the way they feel about their team. They have a lot of confidence. But usually, the head coach, and in this case, Nick Saban, he'll make a point to tell his players, all right, let's low key our expectations about ourselves and our future success. But I haven't seen it this year. It's been, we have a good team. We're going to show everybody.
There needs to be a quiet confidence, and it keeps the other team guessing. They don't know what's going on. If you have this, it's like the other team would have this guess about, I wonder what's up their sleeve. I wonder what they're doing. Why are they being so quiet?
Right. Yeah. So, but that's been one interesting thing about, Alabama this year, that you had some players make some comments stating that they think they're going to be very good, and that's unusual. And all the years I've been watching Alabama football.
Absolutely. You know what? It's already middle of the hour. So let's go ahead and go into a commercial break. We'll be right back in just a minute. Man, I can't believe how time flies.
You have been at this for 12 years. Why are you doing it? Because God's children are not for sale.
Rated PG-13.
At Lamone's Mexican Restaurant, located in Henniger, Alabama, and voted Best Mexican Restaurant of DeKalb County, Alabama 2020, we're here to serve you with authentic Mexican cuisine. Order easily online by going to lamonsmex.com or call 256-657-3999 to place your order. We're open Sunday through Thursday, 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Friday and Saturday, 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Whether you're celebrating a cozy date night for two or a celebration for a crowd, at Lamone's you'll love our atmosphere and friendly servers. Thank you for dining with Lamone's Mexican Restaurant. At Liberty Bank, we're all about community. Whether it's to help with a charity fundraiser or help families in need, toys at Christmas, or a local football team, we're here for you. You see, we realize the importance of family. Sometimes it's to build a new home or necessary home repairs. We're here for you. If you like the feel of a small town bank with all the conveniences of a big city bank, we're here to serve you. You will find us at any of our convenient locations in DeKalb, Marshall, Etowah, and Blount counties in North Alabama. You can call and speak with any of our friendly staff at 256-659-2175 or check us out on the web at libertybankal.com. And thank you for your support of our community. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender. Jeff McCurdy of the McCurdy Law Firm has been a public service of this area for over 10 years. McCurdy, a member of the Henniger City Council, serves as prosecutor for the town of Sylvania and was named public defender for the city of Rainsville. The McCurdy Law Firm is located at 17326 Alabama Highway 75 in Henniger to better represent his Jackson and DeKalb County clients. If you need to be represented by a true public servant with proven success, call Jeff at 256-996-8701 or send a private email to mccurdylawfirm@gmail.com. No representation is made that the legal services performed is greater than the legal services performed by other lawyers. Let Rhonda at Rhonda's Elite Tax LLC take the burden off you for all your tax needs. I know because Rhonda has been taking care of my business since 2013. I feel Rhonda works for me because she knows the direct questions to ask to better benefit my unique business in order for me to get back the biggest refund possible. Rhonda is an ongoing student, and she knows tax laws are in a constant change every year. Call 256-281-9903 for an appointment to take the dread out of getting your taxes done. Rhonda is located at 11968 U.S. Highway 431 in Boaz. Again, that number is 256-281-9903. And let Rhonda's Elite Tax LLC champion your personal and business taxes. The Hatter Cafe and Country Inn is nestled in the northeast corner of Alabama the Beautiful in the delightful town of Mentone. We're located on top of scenic Lookout Mountain near Little River and DeSoto State Park and located only 5 minutes from shopping and restaurants. There is also a nearby community walking path and golf course. We welcome everyone through the doors and we are committed to outstanding service for all guests. At the Hatter Cafe and Country Inn, we invite people from all walks of life to come and get away from it all, enjoy the open spaces, treetop views, fresh, clean air, and experience Southern hospitality at its finest. We look forward to hosting you. To reserve a special event, or if you would love a special getaway at the Country Inn, you can call us at 256-634-2018. We're back. My name is Donna, and I am your host of The Edge on IC Radio, your source for news and entertainment. You can also find us on television, channel 182 on Charter Communications and Abundant Television, which is found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. Send any types of email if you have any questions, any suggestions to Donna at donnasedge.com. I have AP Steadham with me right now. Now, you know I'm an Auburn fan. What's going on with Auburn?
Yeah, Auburn, Peyton Thorney transferred from Michigan State, so I think he will be the quarterback down, but I believe they will utilize the skills of Robbie Ashford because of his versatility. He's so fast as a runner, and he can throw the ball as well. So I think near the 20-yard line, Hugh Freeze will have some packages specifically from him because that 20-yard line, that zone is sometimes difficult to score, but if you have a dual threat quarterback, it puts a lot of pressure on the defense. But anyhow, I just wanted to let people know, Donna, we're going to do some special things covering Auburn. The first time ever, they're traveling to Berkeley, California to play University of California. So we're going to be covering that game. So I want people to look out on my Facebook page. We'll have some pre- and post-game videos as they cover the Auburn Tigers and their first time venturing to the Pac-12 to play University of California, Berkeley, California. So I'm looking forward to that game. That's the second game, Donna. That's the second game, September 9th.
I know we're looking forward to that. And also there's a little bit of buzz going out in the world. We've got to do a little more research on this, but former coach Tommy Tuberville, who now is U.S. Senator, has some things he's working on. So not really anything we can talk about right now, but pertaining to football. So anyway, a little research. Maybe we can talk about that next week. So now AP is also a talk show host, and as we see it with AP and Kelly. So what's going on with the show?
Yeah, Donna, we're so delighted to be on IC Radio every Friday, 4 p.m. Central, AP and Kelly as we see it. One of our guests this week, Donna, will be John Parker Wilson. He's the former Alabama quarterback. He's been with the Crimson Tide Sports Network as the football radio analyst. So we're going to discuss the quarterback situation in Alabama. That's not been on the mind of everybody since last year. The season ended. So he's one of our guests. And then we have some others hopefully coming up as well. But last week we discussed the SEC schedule, all the interesting games, and we call them circle games that the fans and the alumni look forward to competing against a certain team. Maybe they've never done it, like the California game for Auburn, or just a rivalry game or a home game against a SEC opponent that they haven't played in years because, there's so many teams in the conference, you don't get a chance to play everybody. So that's what we did last week, during our show.
Absolutely. Remember Football Friday at 4 right here with AP and Kelly. So good to have you guys in the lineup. So let's talk about a few other teams. A powerhouse has got to be Georgia.
Yeah, Georgia. I'm looking at that quarterback position, Don. You know, I'm looking at the quarterback and the kickers all the time. Those two positions, they interest me. And yeah, they're pretty important to me. And then I'm looking at those people on the perimeter who can make you miss and have those explosive plays of 20-plus yards. The receivers and the tight ends. Of course, Georgia's got one of the best tight ends, Brock Bowers. So Carson Beck looks like the starter for Georgia at this point. Brock Vandergraff is competing for the position as well. But can the Georgia quarterback, with all that tremendous support that he's got on the team at wide receiver and tight end and offensive line and running back, could he not make the mistakes that give the game away? Because essentially he has the best players overall on his roster. So really keep the turnovers to a minimum, because Georgia has a good team that could score a lot of points with all their fast perimeter players and running backs, and they have one of the best offensive lines in the conference, if not the country. So can the quarterback be very productive? Because if not, I think they'll put in the second string quarterback. I think Kirby Smart would not hesitate, but they have a lot of talent. We're just waiting to find out if Carson Beck is going to be the new leader of the Georgia Bulldogs. And defensively, they always are tough, and they surrender points at a minimum, usually leading the conference or near the top in the country as well. And they also have a good kicking game usually. We
have a email actually from Brian, and Brian says, pick your top three. Pick out what you think their weakness is and how they can correct it.
Yeah, the top three. Did he say top three in the country or the conference, or he didn't mention either one? The conference. Okay. You have to go with Georgia. And when you look at their talent, Donna, I don't think there is a weakness. I mean, because defensively, they're going to be as good as anybody. They have big and fast defensive linemen, active linebackers. The secondary is always going to be tested down because people are throwing the football. Tight end, one of the best in the country. Running backs are solid. They had a transfer wide receiver from Missouri. I like him. He's very good. Lovett, I believe his name's Lovett. And then, as I say, the weakness, if any, I look at right now, and I'm not saying it is or it isn't because we haven't seen him play, we have to look at that quarterback. We're going to see what that quarterback does as the first-time starter. Okay, so Georgia's number one. Number two, I would have to say LSU because they have a starting quarterback that's had success last year after transferring from Arizona State, Jaden Daniels. So I would say LSU, they have Malik Neighbors, excellent wide receiver. They have a tight end, Mason Taylor, who was a freshman last year, very good. I think the running backs probably have to produce more for LSU. They have one of the better defensive players, active linebacker, edge rusher Harold Perkins. I think they're going to move him to the inside, so that'll be interesting. So I think that they'll continue to get better on the offensive line. They had two top freshmen last year play. Mention that, Donna. Their tackles were freshmen last year. That's highly unusual. So they're supposed to be two of the better players in the conference. So LSU, I have to check their kicking game. I can't remember offhand, but LSU number two. Number three, I would have to say right now it's a toss up for me. Number three, Tennessee or Alabama. Yeah, Tennessee or Alabama, and it
could be either way.
Either one, and they both have quarterbacks now that will be. Well, Joe Milton III started a couple of years ago, but he was replaced by Hendon Hooker. But so he has some experience. So I would say I would give the edge to Alabama. The only reason I'm saying that is because Tennessee has to visit Alabama. It's a home game for Alabama this year. If it was the other way around, I'd probably say Tennessee. But right now, I'd say Alabama as number three, and Tennessee's got to be a 3A. They've got to be right there. But Alabama, defensively, have some good defensive backs, active linebackers. We're going to see how good they are at affecting the quarterback. Defensive line, they're pretty solid. I think the offensive line could be a strength for Alabama. They have a host of running backs that are capable. That's another strength. Wide receivers, quarterback, big question mark. Tight end transferred from Maryland. We'll see what he can do to help this offense. Kicking game is solid. So those are some of the attributes of the top 3 teams, but they're all very good and they could be interchangeable. You could have 3 being 2 and 2 being 1 and 1 being 3. I mean, but those are the 3 teams plus the Tennessee, of course. They're at the top at the moment in the preseason projections.
Mm-hmm. And another interesting, and I didn't want to bypass this one. This is a real good email, and it doesn't necessarily pertain to how the team is run, but her daughter goes to, it's actually a physical therapist.
Yes.
At Clemson University. So she went on ahead,
Yes.
got her degree in nursing, decided, I want to travel with the football teams. So she's a
Right.
physical therapist, and she wanted to know if you could promote that just a little bit, because there's a lot of great careers in being a physical therapist and traveling with football teams.
Oh yeah, the physical therapist. Hey, the coach, he loves those people because if somebody is injured and needs to rehabilitate, they want to make sure the person in charge of that recovery process is dedicated, is smart, and knows all the latest techniques to help the players get back to the field of competition sooner than later. So yeah, the physical therapist, very important for any athletic team. And yeah, it's a great career for people because they'll travel, they'll meet a lot of people along the way, and it's fun.
She said her daughter's been doing this for the past 4 years and absolutely loves it, loves the travel. And she feels
great
like
for her.
sometimes, oh yeah. And she said her daughter, this is Carol, but she's talking about her daughter. She doesn't say what her daughter's name is, but she said that her daughter really loves it. She gets to travel again. You just mentioned that just a few minutes ago, but she feels like sometimes she can prevent a catastrophic injury because she can get to them right away, to the players right away.
Yeah, absolutely. When a player is injured, they run onto the field immediately to check their condition, and it's important. Sometimes, as we've seen in the past, to make sure that, let's say, there's a back injury, to not move and stay still and stay prone until they get the proper vehicle out there to transport them to the hospital. So yeah, the physical therapists, they're the first ones usually on the field to check the condition of the player, and they're vitally important. You can't have athletic competition, I don't think, without physical therapists and the doctors on the sideline and all the training people. They're a huge part of a football team or any athletic team.
I know a lady, Elisa. We're living in Charlotte, North Carolina, and she was a physical therapist for the Carolina Panthers. And she said that there were times the first thing you have to do is run out on the field, especially if you think it could be a back or spinal injury or something like that.
Correct.
You're pretty much throwing them back on the ground to make sure they don't move.
That's correct. I mean, the physical therapist is the one.
Fun job that was too. She said that was a fun job. Then she got married, kids, and all that, and couldn't do it anymore. But anyway, I bet it was a fun job. Just less than a minute. What would you like to tell folks before we go?
Yeah, I just continue to read and hear about your teams. We're on every Friday, IC Radio, AP and Kelly as we see it, and we have some interesting guests. We're always discussing the Southeastern Conference. We look across the country as well, and we have so much fun talking about football. And Don, I hope to announce next week a really special show. We're working on something that involves talent evaluation, because I know people are always looking to recruiting and those types of things.
Absolutely. AP, thank you so much for being on the show today. And
thank you,
so
Don.
much
My
for
pleasure.
watching The Edge. You are awesome. We have the absolute best audience out there. If you have any questions, you can always send those to me, and I'll shoot those over there to AP. And the email address is donna@donnasedge.com. Everybody, thank you so much. Take care. Bye, AP.
Bye-bye, Donna. Thank you, Donna.